I'm Jane Esselstyn.
I'm Ann Esselstyn,
And I'm Brian Hart.
Jane's husband.
And Brian makes the most delicious beans from scratch. And so I actually have sort of demanded or forced you to, or
It's part of our prenuptial agreement that I have to appear on a number of cooking videos just to make sure that we keep marital bliss alive.
so, but
He's our
Bliss is beans.
He's our supremely good cook in the family.
So Bliss is beans, and he makes these great black beans from scratch. And I cooked with canned beans forever, and it wasn't until a couple of years ago that we started using dried beans.
now they're my absolute favorite. When they're cooking, I will just eat big cups full for lunch.
They're so much better. They taste so much better.
And someone gave me a gift of these beans and said, these are the best beans ever. And they were the Rancho Gordo type beans. And I didn't know Rancho Gordo from Goya from the local store brand. So experiment with different beans that you might be cooking from scratch. But they're really reasonable. They're not very expensive.
Yeah, we love Rancho Gordo. They're just a little more expensive.
But these beans I think were like $1.65, $1.75, $1.79. Anyway, a whole pound. So
Okay,
from
Brian, we
scratch,
gotta go.
Brian,
So-
how do you do it?
Well, the cool thing is we're going to use the Wonderbag today, so you'll get a chance to see how that works. But really, people often say to us, it's too expensive. It's the cost of plant-based eating it's just too expensive. I don't think I can do that. And I think here's a great example of how you can shop at any big box store, any discount food market, and you can have an amazing meal. So these are just plain Goya beans, like $1.60 for 16 ounces. Very simple. Just dump the whole bag in. True aficionados of bean cooking will tell you that you're supposed to go through there and pick out the stones that occasionally get in there when they get mixed in. We've never done that, and we have
our gizzard.
We have all of our teeth. We've managed to survive, so I think we'll be okay. All I did here was chop half a large onion, red pepper, just a sweet red pepper, 3 cloves of garlic. It's especially critical to get a lot of garlic in there, especially if you like garlic, because it really will cook itself into the beans.
Brian, don't you usually use green peppers?
Green peppers, red peppers,
He uses all
yellow
different
peppers,
colors.
whatever pepper I have on hand. 1 bay leaf, and you just put it all together.
And
with
let me just interrupt
Yep.
a minute about bay leaves. You must remove the bay leaves from whatever you're cooking because they do
When
not
it's time to
break
eat.
up.
When it's time to eat.
And my closest to death was when I was choking on a bay leaf, and that was it. I thought that was it. I don't know how I got it out. So I am meticulous about removing bay leaves.
Yeah, if your doctor ever suggests that perhaps eating plant-based is dangerous, this is the only time you can agree with them and say it's possible that you could choke on a bay leaf. All right, so 1 bay leaf,
I wonder what flavor bay leaves give a flavor, but I could never really.
half a large onion, just chopped up however you want, red pepper,
And our onions are the size of like
Softballs.
large softball. Yeah.
3 cloves of garlic, and much to Anne's chagrin, I usually do this. A little bit of salt,
I don't think you need that.
and you're going to pour the water in till it's a couple inches over the top.
I always try and put my finger in 2 inches.
Yeah, that's good. Exactly. You're going to put it in there, and you're going to put it on boil. You're going to boil it, bring it to a boil, and let it roll boil. You can adjust the heat to be able to do that safely. And you're going to boil it for 15 minutes. Just let it cook hard for 15 minutes, and it'll make a lot of steam, and it smells great. Makes the whole house smell amazing.
So good.
We're not going to spice it yet. We're actually going to wait and spice it toward the end of the cooking process. So just know that if you put all the spices in now, a lot of times they'll boil off, and so the taste won't be as strong by the time you eat. So you want to make sure that we'll spice at the end, and we'll show you how that all works. So basically what you would do, again, you bring it to a boil, and
Go over there, yeah.
and then we're going to plop it into the Wonderbag.
And we're going to transfer it to a shorter pot
Have we
to fit in the Wonder Bag.
Jane, tell about the Wonderbag.
And
So-
I must say, when I'm pouring the water in, just because in writing cookbooks I've had to measure the amount of water, it's roughly around anywhere between like almost 8 or 10 cups up to 12, 13 cups per batch of beans, depending on the humidity, depending on how high you have it evaporating. So it's a big squishy window.
The
roughly-
best is just 2 inches. Put your finger in.
And if people who like to measure around, I start with like 12 cups.
You may have to add more water, which is fine. Just anytime it looks like it's getting a little thin down on the water, just add a little bit more water.
Now, I don't know if we've talked about the Wonderbag on YouTube yet, but there is actually on the website, janeesselstyn.com, there is in our store, there's a link with a code that I think will help pass on a Wonderbag to someone in need. But what this amazing thing is, it was invented by a woman who grew up in Africa, and it looks like it's a little round sleeping bag with a little sleeping bag type
With a little
top,
hat.
little hat. But what this does is you take, or whoever's cooking anything in a pot, then can take that substance that they're cooking once it's come to a boil. If it's rice or whatever grain they're cooking, they can put it in this bag, the Wonderbag. Like, do we have? I'll just take it here. Pretend this is a big hot pot full of boiling rice or whatever, and with a lid on it, and you put this in, and you then close it up, and it doesn't lose hardly any heat. It cooks here. I mean, it cooks without using heat, and it cooks without losing a lot of water. So it saves on water, and it saves on the need for fuel, which are huge, huge parts of especially women's lives.
And being environmentally helpful.
Yes. So it's helpful in many ways. So this company, Wonderbag, offers if there's a purchase of a Wonderbag, it offers the gift of a Wonderbag to a person who needs one.
So
And I love these patterns. It has various patterns on their site.
All of us will start something in the morning often, and then, as Brian said, cook it for maybe 10 minutes so it gets nice and hot, and put it in here. And by the end of the day, 10 hours later, it still is warm. And
Yeah,
ready to
if
eat. I've done it with rice.
Yes.
I started the rice. We were having 25 people, so I needed a big pot. I boiled it for about 10 minutes, put it in the Wonderbag, and when we got back, literally 10 hours later, the rice was perfect, and it wasn't burned.
That's the key. And sometimes we have kids coming home from swim practice a little later than other people. So I'll just put, their rice, their beans, their this, their that, their warm stuff in here. I'll put a pot lid on top of it, pop this on, and keep it warm for the kid coming home, which is just nice to come home to a warm meal. You don't have to put it in the oven or stove or microwave or whatever. Anyway, so let's take a break, and we'll come back when this is cooked.
All right, so what we did was, remember, we brought this to a boil, let it do a rolling boil for about 15 or 20 minutes, got it a good start, plopped it in the Wonderbag, and closed it off, and we left for 3 hours. When we came back and we check it, we're going to find out how well it's cooked. Now, sometimes you may need to sort of crank up the boil again and just let it sit again, just depending on how well it cooked.
You mean if there's too much fluid on top?
If there's too much fluid on top,
if you got back too fast, too.
yeah, if you came back too fast. But now
Ooh.
we have a pot of cooked beans.
Oh.
So all the vegetables kind of that you put in there to flavor it sort of cook down. They all turn the same color, and you can it gets this rich sort of sauce in there. And now we have to season it though.
Are they done?
Well, perfect. They're totally tasty.
Well,
But Brian always adds his magic.
Yes.
But if you don't want to do anything
and
more,
sometimes we even take an
This is perfect.
immersion blender, and we blend up the beans, break them up about half of them, so half are whole and half are immersion blended, and that way they have, it's not like hummus, but there's a sauciness to them. That's great.
All right, so chili powder, always great. I like, let's just go random here. Let's go with like a couple of tablespoons of chili powder.
that's
I'll put some more in, don't worry.
Oh.
Smoked paprika, I think gives it a nice, good smoky
Hickory,
sort of
yeah.
hickory taste.
That's my fault. I always like pour it in things when the steam comes up and makes it solid.
Let's say.
I always measure.
Brian never measures.
And then we, bone sucking sauce, you've probably seen that bone sucking Barbecue sauce is something we use all the time. They actually have a seasoning rub, which is, if you're interested in it, just a different kind of flavoring. It's a little bit, I don't know, gives a little bit of cha-cha-cha. Mix that in.
I'm just gonna say, sometimes favorite flavor profile I make with beans. Sometimes I add in cumin, which is when I'm going for more of like a sort of Mexican flavored beans, if you will, or Cuban flavored, and then I also use oregano sometimes when I'm making my flavor profile. But I love Brian's. And what do you put? Oh, you put nothing.
Nothing.
And if you want,
Can I give you a fork? Can I taste it now, Brian?
yeah, if you like that Cuban black bean
Oh,
taste, you
really?
can always squeeze some lime in there
Let's
to give it
squeeze
a little
some
bit of a
lime.
citrus taste, which, as many of you probably know, it's one way to get your vitamin C in there. So you can always chop and squeeze.
Vitamin C in your food that you eat, it's good to have. Is there a knife over there, Ann? Can you grab a quick knife? Because when you have vitamin C with your food, it helps pull the iron into your blood. And I know that people often on a plant-based diet will say, like, oh, I got so anemic, and you know, maybe that's true. Sometimes you don't eat enough food, you feel just tired, or getting the vitamin C in your meal helps get that iron into your bloodstream. Okay, I want to taste it. Is it good?
Needs more chili powder.
You think?
Yep.
Good to me.
And that's the painfully simple way to make black beans.
I think they're great, Bri. Well, let us know how you season your beans. Thank you so much for joining us today. And go make some beans. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.